Yeah, and look, I mean, obviously the story of the day with the two departures. Let me just kind of give my thoughts on these before we kick it around. Let's start with Zaquan Patterson. Big name, top 75 player out of high school, safety, Chaminade Madonna, someone who's been on the radar since he was a kid, right? A big recruiting win for the Miami Hurricanes over FSU. Very expensive player on top of, big recruit. He was always very physical. He got on the field early. But I think the issue with him, there were several issues. First, you knew coming in that he was more of a box safety and that coverage would be an issue for him. He'd be limited in that way. You hoped he would expand his game. So he had this kind of inherent limitations that you knew going in, but you thought that the strength with the physicality, the athleticism would make up for it. In terms of just kind of doing all the things necessary to be a student athlete at I thought that was a big adjustment for him, more so than some other players. Like you look at his teammate, Jeremiah Smith. It wasn't just the physical tools that Jeremiah Smith brought to the table that allowed him to thrive as a freshman. It was the total package and the commitment to doing all the things necessary to be a student athlete and to succeed, off the field in terms of just doing everything he needed to do. I'm not sure Zaquan was as advanced as a Jeremiah Smith, his teammate coming in, and that's why the playing time was different than injuries. He didn't play in spring really, played sparingly, was banged up. And I think all those things together, plus the price tag, just made more sense for him to move on elsewhere where he can develop, in a different situation, different role. So, best of luck to him. Loved him coming out of high school. It was super fun to watch. I remember watching him in the nationally televised game Chaminade played against, I believe, a school from D.C., and he was the best player on the field that day. So he's definitely got talent, physical, can do a lot. But, yeah, I just don't think it worked out, and there's a lot of reasons for that. Miami's going to take a significant amount of NIL money back, right, with him going out the door, and I think that's going to be used for a transfer portal safety. Seth, I don't know if you have any additional thoughts on our friend Zaquan.
That's 100% what I was told and heard is that basically, he does have a lot of talent. He might be a great player in another program, but for the bang for the buck and the match, the way he was fitting into our program, I think they wanted to move in another direction. And like you said, the portal brings you players. It also lets players that maybe you didn't fit quite how you hope they'd fit to go elsewhere. So he still can have a great career. He's a good kid. But again, for us, it enables us to use those funds. And I think they're also very happy, by the way, I'm sure you know this, Dee, that with the transfer portals that we brought in for the defensive backs, they're happy with all those guys. They're very happy with all those guys.
Yeah, the corner situation, I think, is tremendously improved. Safety, you brought in Zachariah Boyser, and that's a keeper. He's going to start. He's more versatile than Zaquan. I think he's just more professional at this stage because the guy's been in – well, I guess he's 1 year older, but he's played a lot more, kind of came up through the mud, as the kids say. I got it through the mud and, transferred or started at Jacksonville State, proved himself there, transferred over to already as a proven player who had outplayed his recruiting ranking. So different situations. I think Zaquan, if I'm in the portal as a buyer, he's a guy that I think has a lot of talent. You just got to put him in the right system. And again, these guys all develop at different rates. I just think when you come in with a big price tag and a lot of expectations and it doesn't happen as fast as you'd like, those players tend to end up in the portal for various reasons. So I think that's a little bit of what happened here with Zaquan.
And D, I mean, look, he wasn't recruited by these defensive backs coaches. That not that look, there's a lot of players like that, right? That's not the end all be all, but I think that's just another contributing factor. And it's not, I think it's comfort level on the player side too, right? This is a two-way street here. And look, I think, like you said, Seth could be a good player in the right fit, in the right system for him. I think his comments were pretty classy on the way out. Had, said it was nothing to do with Mario or the coaches. So nice to see that in this era where there's so much of, stuff on the way out that just gets out that is kind of ugly. So we didn't see that, but yeah, I think maybe a bit of a good sign. Not that they weren't going to go to the portal already for safety, but I think a good sign for guys like Dylan Day and Amari Wallace, like people in the comments have said.
True freshmen, those things are going to happen. But I think, again, it's he wasn't there in spring.
Yeah,
so
new coaches and wasn't there in spring. It was the combo that was. I think that's tough there. You know, he's there in spring, doesn't have a chance to really get on the field with those coaches. It's a tough. I think that's a tough proposition for a guy who didn't play as much as he wanted last year. Comes in is not able to get out there, and then he himself probably feels like he's behind the 8 ball heading into the season. And now he goes to a new place. He's going to have to prove himself there also.
this guy can go to another spot and make it happen. But it didn't happen at Miami, and Miami wanted it to happen. I mean, Miami invested a lot in him, right? So it's not like Miami invested in him for show. They wanted him to play and be the safety. They need safeties. They're going to have to get a safety now.
I'm all in on player development and giving players a chance. In our day and age of college football, it's obviously more similar to professional. And in this situation, we brought in a player at a high price, and we were able, unlike the NFL, you take a free agent, it's going to 7-year deal, whatever it is, for big money, and they don't all work out either. But you're stuck in that 7-year deal. In this particular case, he came in, and I don't think that we don't really have the time, because it was big dollars, and the way the team evaluated is that we can do more with who we have and bring in, and let the guy, instead of maybe he's going to succeed in Miami, let him take the opportunity to get playing time, to go to a better fit for him and utilize his talents, then make him sit and wait 3 years. He doesn't want to sit 3 years either. He wants to play. So it's kind of a bunch of different things. It's not that we are giving up on a guy. We're also helping the guy. He might be All-American somewhere else, but here he wasn't on that path yet. And it's not necessarily a knock on the coaching staff, because there's so many things that are going on. Like you said, no spring, new coaching staff. One of the things these coaches have worked on, which he missed, is every practice is a drill, communications drill. I have never seen us do that. He hasn't been a part of that. So he's behind the 8 ball. But going somewhere else where maybe they have a different, system, he has the athletic ability. He's probably going to do very well somewhere. It just didn't work here, and we were able to get out of it. He's going to be happy. We're going to be happy, and I really do think it's a win-win.